What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Dynasty Queens. I'm your host, Pamela Nicole, and I've got my beautiful co host,
Nia-Jolie in the building, per usual.
So, girl, we've had a lot of shit go down this past 3 months. So, I do want to touch on a little psychological thriller here, which is also known as Mr. Yeezy, Kanye West. Girl, let me tell you a little bit. So I was reading, me and mom are actually talking, and I was reading in the press, he was talking about one, how he called Beyonce and Jay-Z's kids retarded. I know that is like politically, we can't say that anymore, but I'm just kind of like, y'all been friends for decades. Y'all been in the music industry for decades, probably longer than that. And y'all been friends, like good family friends for all this time. And for you to even say something about a good friend of yours children in that manner is wild. You know what I mean? So I want to kind of just dive in and kind of get your take on what's going on up here.
I have said numerous times, like, ever since that man's mama passed, he has not been the same mentally. He's still that musical genius that we're accustomed to, but something is not quite right. He has been off his rocker for quite some time. So I just feel that a sick brain sometimes likes to get attention. And I'm not a psychologist per se, but I just have an idea that something is not right upstairs. And I think he's hurting. And I feel that he wants attention from his counterparts. Like he's crying out, but he doesn't know how to cry out for help, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Now, I want to touch on that. So you're thinking that it's more of a cry for help. Do you feel that in the industry that there is not really like a quote unquote safe space for celebrities to be vulnerable, to be able to say, hey, like this is, my grievances, this is what is going on? Do you feel like people are afraid of judgment? I don't feel like him per se would be afraid of anybody judging him. I think he is very much a narcissist and doesn't care about what other people think. But do you feel like as a whole, do you feel like celebrities have it's like a judgment thing? Like they're just too scared to just be themselves?
I think they have different ways of begging for attention. Like if you've been through something, and for some reason, a lot of people that are involved in the arts or entertainment, they have a story, right? Whatever that story is that led them to a mental breakdown or disturbance or whatever it is, sometimes seeking counsel does not help. Someone like Kanye, who probably has refused certain therapies, certain medications because he's so stubborn. So I really don't know. I can't speak on his psychiatric background. But what I can say is, yeah, I guess when you are put on a pedestal to be someone who's considered great and worthy of praise and attention, of course, you want to seem perfect to society. And that's something that's not possible because we are human beings. We bleed all the same. We have flesh and bone. We pass away. Bodies fail due to ailment, regardless of who. We see all the celebrities that, as life happens, they pass away because guess what? They're human beings, just like the rest of us. So yeah, I feel it's a part of them that feels they have to have this superficial element of I'm perfect. I'm superhuman, because, hey, paparazzi follow me. They talk about me on TV and, articles and the internet and the social media. Like I'm the poppin' person. So of course I'm supposed to be close to perfect. So yeah, I do think.
That makes sense. But it's just been a roller coaster. I can't even say a downward spiral. He has had definitely episodes of absolute mania and all kinds of stuff. So in a sense, like you're saying, having that attention on him, it just ebbs and flows with him. But I think it's definitely a big jab to come for your friends, your so-called good friends, children, in a way. Because I really feel like Beyonce and Jay-Z, they seem like really classy people. I don't know them personally, but they seem like really wholehearted, like they're about their business. They stay out of other people's business. I just don't see them being the type to talk about other people's kids in that same manner that Kanye has, basically disrespected their family.
I know Jay-Z, for whatever reason, he was caught up in it. I don't know if I can even call it a scandal, because the thing about when people come out accusing folks of, whatever, the flip side is that liars can also slip through the cracks, and very few and far in between. But I just don't know sometimes about that Jay-Z situation. I don't have enough information on it. So, of course, anything I hear about him negatively would be hearsay, even if it's coming from Kanye, of course, because he's just not a valid source for me to be like, oh, yeah, I really believe that this is happening. Once again, I think he's someone who's always kind of like crying for attention from his peers, from the people he loves, really. Of course, from his fan base, but more so his industry peers. If you notice how he attacks those people.
That is true.
Yeah. He attacks those people, and I feel like he's attacking people that he loves because he doesn't feel that he's getting the love that he needs from them at this time in his life. He feels he is going through a mental crisis, a mental breakdown, and he feels he doesn't have their support. So the way that he tries to get their attention is by lashing out. And that would be my perspective on it. Psychology was my minor. So I kind of, I'm, like I said, I'm not licensed or certified, not a doctor. However, I do feel that that's a cry of help to people that he loves.
Okay. I can see that aspect of it. I've read a lot of, I like to read about the clinical aspect of like different people, especially if you exert that type of like behavior and everything. So there are, have been articles where they talk about him being bipolar. I believe that is true, that he is bipolar. So like with that, there's just so many different side effects or symptoms rather, if you will, of being bipolar. But none of them that I've actually read when I did psychology really made sense. So it seems like it's almost like a behavioral or a cognitive behavioral situation. Like I said, this is just my opinion on it. Don't know exactly what he's diagnosed with. But just going from that, what we're talking about, is talking about other like high profile people, and then going on to his marriages. So we all know he was married to Miss Kim Kardashian for a while. And then he divorced, and then he married Bianca Censori. And I always thought that was so interesting. I'm like, to me, it was like you're trying to find Kim in someone else, if you will, because the girl looks very similar to Miss Kim K. You know what I mean? And there was an interview he did. I'm not sure when the interview was, but he did mention, mind you, let me pause real quick. In this interview, Nia, he is dressed in KKK attire in all black. He had the cloak, he had on the hood, and then underneath it, he had on a diamond encrusted swastika.
Girl.
So just appearance wise, first of all, I'm just like,
Right.
So you know something crazy is gonna come out of his mouth, right?
Yeah, for sure. I also saw that video, and at this point, nothing surprises me. Honestly, once again, I do think he is begging for attention. I feel like his whole whatever yay or whatever this person morphed into, he is a hurt little soul. And also, I feel it's very strange how certain people are able to predict their own future. I don't know if he realized it, but couple, decades ago when he first came out, I was a huge Kanye West fan when he first came on the scene. I thought he was super talented. I respected him as a producer and also an artist. So I thought that was a cool, because over the years we've had others like Timbaland and people like that. But as far as the overall artistry, I always thought that Kanye was probably like superior to all the others that could do both. The producing and the artistry. So I was like, okay, cool. And I respected him as a young woman, a young lady, becoming an adult, listening to his music. I was like, okay, he's really dope. I'm like, I think he's going to stay around. He's going to make his imprint. He's going to potentially be an icon. That's the vibe I got from him 20 years ago, right? But as time progressed, he had songs when you get on, you leave your ass for a white girl, all that kind of stuff. It's like
It's
he
like,
like, predictions, I guess you could say.
mhm.
All falls down. I mean, the entire song, verse for verse, like telling himself that he already knew what he was susceptible to, and like, damn, if I make it, I'm gonna fall prey to losing my soul, losing who the fuck I am, like the essence of who I am.
Yeah.
And I think he was kind of forewarning himself, almost like how Biggie and Tupac would do the premonition. I don't like when people put that in music because what you say about the tongue is very powerful.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, Kanye kind of spoke his own legacy through lyrics.
And I love that you mentioned that because, I think some people just get so caught up in his words. Like you're saying, the tongue is so powerful. Like your hardcore Kanye fans, they stand on business. They stand on everything and every little thing that he says. So,
My brother is one of them.
oh really? Oh wow.
Yeah, die hard.
So like for me, there's just certain in that same interview that we're talking about, there are certain things that just really the psychologist in me was just like make it make sense. There was a point in there where he was saying 2 months into him and Kim dating, he knew he didn't want her to have his kids. And what they have like 5, 6, I don't even know how many children they have, but they got a lot of kids. They got a whole Brady bunch. So my thing is for you to say that outwardly and publicly, and that's never going to go away. You have little people, little beings that you created that are going to hear this and know that you flat out didn't want them. Because
Yeah.
that's what you basically said. You didn't want them. And to continue to have more kids. My thing, this is my thought process, Nia. So this could be any Joe Schmo. You're with somebody and you're in the relationship and you're like, you know what? This ain't for me. Quite naturally, you're going to dip. You're going to go. You're going to do what you want and find what works for you. As far as like going into like a serious relationship and talking about kids and starting the a future and starting a family, if you already know off the bat, for you, for example, if you know you don't want to be with some guy and you don't want him to be your baby daddy, your husband, yada yada, whatever, woo woo, you're not going to continue this cycle. You're going to be like, you know what, this we're done, and not go on and on year after year. Oh, let's get a surrogate. Let's get 2. Let's get 3. So at that point, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like it just, and once again, is this he has this craving for media fodder and attention. I think he'll wake up and it's like, okay, let's see what are they talking about me? Am I trending? And he'll look, and then he'll probably give like a diabolical laugh, like, yeah, like look at this shit. Like these idiots really believe this bullshit. He wants to stay trending so that he can feel good about himself because he really does not feel good about himself inside at all. And he wants to feel good about himself by making other people look stupid by believing the bullshit that he says. He is definitely a narcissist. I know you mentioned that earlier.
For sure.
Because forget all the other stuff with Clown and Beyonce and Jay-Z. Because at the mercy of or at the expense of his children's psyche, like you said, they're going to see this, especially North. She's really smart. She's older. And the boys and all that stuff. These kids are going to see this. And that leaves something on you to hear your father say, I didn't want you.
Mm-hmm.
That can destroy a life, actually. That can make a child feel like they're not wanted. They can, a lot of things can happen. So the magnitude of what he is, the can of worms he's released, they can also talk about her at school. Like, ooh, your daddy said, not thinking. Think about, with the Combs twins, they're older, so it's like, okay. But this is even worse because it's directed at them, the children.
Exactly.
Shame on Kanye.
And I read actually no, this was on one of the episodes of Keeping Up the Kardashians. Kim was saying that she tries her best to shield them from everything that has to do with him. Like she doesn't let them, she let them listen to the music and everything, but she doesn't allow them to do like certain things. And, and I really respect Kim. Like, she's gone through her trials and tribulations. I really respect her as a mother because she really is doing her damnness to protect those kids. And of course, they have the life any person, hell, adopt me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
they don't have to want for nothing. And,
Yeah.
it's interesting to see her transition from like just, reality TV star, still reality TV star, but you see a more like vulnerable side of her as a mother. And it's real and it's raw, you know what I'm saying? And you always see her trying to defend her kids, and she doesn't badmouth Kanye. She doesn't do anything to disrespect him.
Right.
But you turn around, and what's he doing?
Exactly.
And it's just so sad to just have to see a family that really shouldn't have any issues like that have to go through all the bullshit that they have to go through because of his ass.
Because of his ass. You're just so right about that. And I do feel for Kim. And I almost wonder, like, okay, this guy has to be lying because, first of all, who's going to consent to go through surrogacy? Was it 3 times?
I want to say it was 3.
With someone if you never even wanted children with them to begin with? That doesn't make any sense
At all.
She paid him and said, well, here for your sperm. I don't know. I thought their relationship was real. If you procreate that many damn times, the shit better be real because that's weird. Like if it's staged, that's weird. But he's lying. When he said he didn't want his children, he's lying. But at the expense of their emotional psyche, he doesn't care. He's a narcissist. I think he loves his children in his own. I would hate to call him. I'm not even going to use one of those words. I'm just going to stick at narcissist but yeah, in his own brain, he loves them, but he does not care about their emotional well-being. He loves them because they're part of him, and that's the narcissist part of him. Oh, those are mine. Those. That's why he loves them. Does he care if he's trying to be trending again and saying, I never wanted them? Look at all this foolery that he's doing, girl. Like, no, he wants attention. And he wants Kim to start talking and saying stuff to keep the wheel going of the trending. Because his brain, that sends, those endorphins to his brain like, hey, I'm worthy of being talked about still. I'm still relevant, compared to everybody today. I'm still him. I'm still whatever he thinks he's God or whatever. But girl, no.
What's good, guys? It's Pamela and Nicole from Dynasty Queens. Real quick, I'm going to give a great shout out to our sponsor, Shopify. Are you looking to start your small online business? You can go ahead and start today with Shopify. Let me tell you why. They're the leading e-commerce brand on the internet right now. It's taking it by storm. So if you're a small business, large business, whatever kind of business you have, and you have your e-commerce that you need to get going, your marketing, purchases, whatever you want to sell to your clientele, Shopify's got you covered. They do have an easy interface, guys. So if you're looking to do easy payments with clients, just get everything off the ground, easy shopping, whatever you need to do, links, everything like that, they got you covered. It's super simple, super easy to use. So what are y'all waiting for? Go ahead and take charge of your business today and start with Shopify. Do you believe that, this is a long shot question, but do you feel that like there's a possibility that Kanye is searching for the type of like maternal love that his mom gave him from other people, and he's not being able to fulfill that void? So that's why he continues to like look for like other people. Maybe Kim was like the closest thing he had, because that was a very long marriage, like in celebrity terms. That it was a pretty long marriage, So do you feel like him bouncing from Kim to Bianca was him trying to see like, yeah, they look the same, so maybe there's something else there, you know what I mean? Because he pursued her, and he's the one that was like, oh, I want you to work for my company. So what do you think about that?
I think without us realizing it or not, people have a type. And especially if it was an ex that they are very fond of or loved or whatever, had great memories with, they are going to seek out what attracted them to that person initially in somebody else. So he's guilty of something that many are. If you think about it, even if you say, oh, I have a type. If you have a type, even if it's like 2 or 3, some people have like at least 3 subcategories of type. It may be this is this. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So all of us have done that at some point in time, whether we realize it or not. But did he scope out someone who looked like her? For sure. Do I think he loves Kim to this day? Yeah, I think he wants her attention. And I think that's a great point that you made about him seeking. Like I said earlier, he does want validation from people he loves, but nobody is going to be able to give him that love that Donda gave him because she's the person who birthed him, his mother. You know, nobody else, no homeboy, no girlfriend, ex-wife, nobody will be able to fill the void of his mother. And he has to come to terms with her passing. And I know that can be very difficult. But in order for him to proceed with the rest of his life as a normal functioning human being without being institutionalized, which I think he should, he has to come to terms with that. And he never has. He's still stuck in, what year did she die? 2008 or 7? He's still stuck back there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, like, when you say that's so interesting to me because it's so weird. It's almost like being in the Twilight Zone because your part of your brain is stuck back in the past, you know, but you're progressing as a person. Like you're doing all these things, you're making all this money, you got your own clothing line, you've got this, you've got that, you got albums coming out, you know, you're doing the church thing, you're doing so much, but you're stuck at the same time.
Mental purgatory. He's stuck. He's emotionally stuck in the same time space he was when his mother first passed away. I guarantee you, if he was sitting in front of me right now or watching this, he would start crying because I'm speaking facts. There's no other reason for him to be acting this way. As a grown-ass 40-something-year-old man, he has some stuff he needs to, but I don't think him sitting with somebody, I don't know how to heal a narcissist. I don't know if that's possible. Once again, I'm not a clinical psychologist, nothing like that, but I don't know how you dig into that type of brain. Especially someone who has been told their whole life, you're a genius. He already thinks he's
God
and smarter than everybody else. So who's he going to sit in front of and lay his problems out? I'm sure his team have sent him to counseling probably many times. Wasn't he in rehab and all kind of stuff?
I want to say he was at one point.
I think he was. I don't think, for some people, I don't think it'll help at all. If you think you're God, if you've been told by the world that you're superior to other people, he's not going to believe anything, or he will not tap in for real. He may know it, but he won't tap in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that's a good point. Like, to almost like someone needs to make a book to heal a narcissist, you know, like in a sense, because there's just so many things. Like even just from that interview, we can go back to that. He's into the church, you know, we've seen, you know, he had his spiritual album, he had all these great things, which is great, you know, kudos to you, Kanye. But to go on a platform and kind of disrespect God, I don't think I've ever heard anybody disrespect God the way that I heard that said. Because I believe what he said was, our God is a jealous God. He's an angry God. And all I do is try to emulate myself to be like God. And I know I grew up in the church. That is the like farthest thing from God that I've ever heard. So to hear that narrative of what he thinks of God is wild and almost cult-like, if you think about it.
You know what I think about it? I think I'm looking at the timeline from Jesus walks to now. It's like, whoa, what the fuck happened? What happened from Jesus walks to now? But once again, bringing up the narcissist in him, right? He is, by him saying that God is a jealous God. And what was the other thing he said? Jealous and what?
He said he was a mad God.
Oh, like an angry. Okay. He said he was angry and then he was jealous and that he wants to be like him or be godlike. So he idolizes himself. That's what that says to me. He looks at himself as so important and so subhuman or whatever, or so godly, that he said the actual God is jealous of his greatness. It's crazy.
Wild.
That's what he's saying. He's like, man, I'm the shit. I'm so the shit that even God himself is jealous of me. That's what he's saying. And that's some weird ass shit.
Girl.
Supreme narcissist behavior in that whole statement, because who thinks like that?
No, it's like, you gonna get to the gates. Let me look at the list real quick. St. Peter's gonna be like, let's rewind your life real quick and look at this moment.
The only thing he hasn't said, maybe he has, is that he was the second coming. Did he say that before? Maybe he did. I don't know.
That I haven't heard, but I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
That's kind of like on the lines of how I think he views himself at this point in his life. He feels that he's paid his dues, that he's gone through some horrible life experiences, and he deserves to be at the top where he is, which is right. However, he's not better than anybody else. That's the part he has wrong.
That part.
He deserves to be there for sure. But no, you're not God, sir.
No, not at all. Now, I know we all saw him with his all MAGA attire and just on like right hand of Trump, this, that, and the third. Do you think that he would have a successful presidency? Or before I say that, do you feel like he would have a chance to be a candidate for president and then have a successful presidency if that were to transpire?
No, I don't.
No,
absolutely not. I don't think the masses would take him seriously. Him being an entertainer, I don't think they would take him seriously. Especially him being a Black entertainer. I know that other, Donald Trump was a celebrity, Ronald Reagan was a celebrity, whatever. Those are white men. They can do whatever the hell they want. No, I don't think that the masses would take Kanye seriously, especially given his history of mental turmoil, breakdown, disaster, bashing people he loves, including his children. No, I don't think so. Perhaps if he was another shade, yeah, maybe so. But as a Black man, you got to damn near walk the straight line. Barack Obama never had any outside conspiracies about baby mamas, girlfriends, transgender affairs. Nothing ever came out. Ever on him. Like, nothing. Maybe because there was nothing. So as a Black man that's going to be a politician, you have to walk that straight, narrow, literally straight path. The world's not ready for that when it comes to politics because people are very conservative in their opinions about things. So you really have to be damn near what they consider perfect to be a Black political candidate, I think.
And I love that you mentioned that you definitely put that emphasis on being a Black politician. Because what I was going to butt in with was, you see Elon Musk out here, he's doing, but it's a color thing. It's definitely.
What's funny, off tangent, that someone was talking about when Raven Simone said the African-American, she's not African-American, she's whatever, Black. If you think about it, they were in the comments saying Elon Musk is African-American. Technically, he's South African. Just off tangent a little bit, guys. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
That's great. That's great. But, I love that, he does things that definitely catch our eye. They're very controversial. And I did want to ask you, we're very much on the topic of, as Black women and just as Black people, the pride that we carry with our ethnicity and everything. Do you feel that in that interview with him, with the swastika, with him, with the attire he had on, do you feel like he was really trying to anger us? Or do you feel like, what do you feel was the message behind that?
You know what? I don't even think if he knows the damn message at this point. He just wants media fodder and attention, and he wants to be the next trending topic. I think he might as well have been Dave Chappelle in that skit that he did where he was the Black Klansman. Like, he might as well be doing that. It's a joke. I think he thinks that we're a joke. That's what he thinks. I don't know if he's trying to piss us off. He thinks Black people are a joke. He thinks that we didn't jump on his bandwagon of the stuff he was talking about in years past. We never have really, honestly, we haven't, because he was talking crazy 20 years ago. Remember during the Hurricane Katrina situation on live network television during a telethon to support the tragedy.
Yeah.
He's like, George Bush does not like Black people. That was like his first big, like, uproar. But to us, it was kind of like, okay, well, at least he's down for the cause. He's rooting
Right.
for us. Jesus Walks was really popular at the time. His mom was alive. So he always had tendency to be a little like loony up there, but not to the extent where he is now. He would just have outbursts and stuff like that, but nothing that it's kind of normal for certain people to have that type of behavior. But I think he always had a narcissistic tendency. And I think when they say when trauma happens, that can turn a person to a narcissist or a sociopath or a psychopath. They can have the tendency or the gene in them, whatever that is. And then someone will spark it, but it doesn't happen for everybody. But something sparked it in him, and it was his mama passing. It sparked that narcissistic demon that is within him that became Jesus or whatever. I'm just impressed. They're two different people to me.
Girl.
They're two different people.
And when you were talking about the telethon, it reminded me too of the time that he said that slavery was a choice.
Oh, God. Look, that was the soundbite that people ran with. I think what he was trying to say is why the hell were we sitting up there letting them, keep us captive and in bondage? That's pretty much what he was trying to say. But his particular verbiage and his lingo, it was very offensive. As if we wanted to be there. We were brought over on ships, brainwashed. We weren't taught how to read and write or defend ourselves. So if you have no knowledge of what's going on around you, how can you possibly have the wherewithal to stand up and defend yourself?
Right.
That's the point.
The word is different because that's terrible. Like, you can't recover from something like that. You can't just say something like that and then just be like, it's cool. Like, y'all know what I meant. No, we didn't.
Right. So he's offended us over the years. So perhaps that's why we don't have his back like he feels that we should, because he's always doing something offensive and it's getting worse. So now he thinks we're a joke. To answer your question, he thinks we're a joke.
That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Do you feel like he will be around for the long haul? Do you feel like in like 25, 30 years, we're going to still have like random albums from Yeezy? We're going to have random outbursts from him. Like as an old ass man, he going to be like, with his like fucking cane, like, oh my God, like doing his thing. Do you feel like he will still be up to his shenanigans in due time in about 25, 30 years?
I pray that he is here to bullshit us with shenanigans. I don't care how crazy it is. I pray that he's here that long. I pray that he's here because I really worry for his mental health and his overall condition. I hope he's here with the fuckery. I prefer that over anything else. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be cool with that. Him still going on, carrying on, almost like a Dick Gregory type of character in his old years, just staying like off the wall type of shit. Or Paul Mooney type, just saying some off the wall crazy shit. Like, that's cool with me. I'm okay with that. I just want him to be here. So he needs to take the proper precautions and steps now to change the trajectory of his life. He needs to start with healing from his mother and learn to love on his children and to get over Kim, because I don't think he ever got over her.
Honestly, I don't think he ever will. I mean, I feel like when you have an extension of yourself and you have that much, there's always going to be the love there.
Yeah.
But maybe, just from watching episodes and stuff, there's a lot of stuff that just didn't go right. And that in turn messed with her too, because she lost a lot of weight and
yeah, definitely
went through a lot, dealing with him. But I think she realized her worth after a while, that like, hey, like this ain't it, and she's doing all her focus really is on those kids, like she kind of like stepped down. I feel, even though she's got a lot of stuff, she's got her businesses, she's got all her stuff going on, but she did take a step down to make sure that those babies are okay. And I, like I said before, I commend her wholeheartedly for focusing on her family, focusing on those babies and making sure that she's protecting them as best as she can.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more than that, because it takes a lot, especially when your life is in the public eye. You had a crazy ass ex-husband and all of that stuff. Wasn't there footage of him hiding in the bushes, the shrubbery? He had like a disguise suit on, like just the craziest stuff that you can imagine is what this lady is dealing with. So very commendable, for her to stand up, but she's supposed to. As a mother, that's her job, is to take care of her kids and be there for them. And as far as Kanye, there's so many demons and so much to his story, and also so much that has not transpired yet. So I don't know what is next for him, but I'm praying for Kanye, because I know that Kanye West, I'm praying for Yeezus or Ye or whatever the hell he calls himself these days, because I know Kanye West is still inside of there.
Mm-hmm. That was good. That was a good time. What a time to be alive. When he first came out, girl, what a time to be alive.
Listen, the Kanye from, what's that song? Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a little Anita. That Kanye West, I want that one back. I want the one from, Man, I promise, I'm so self-conscious. I want that Kanye back, I want nothing's ever promised tomorrow today. I want that Kanye back, like the college mouth, the even touch the sky, like that whole Kanye. I need him back.
That was such a good,
It's like heartwarming, right? He was just everything. He was great. And we could look at him, as long as you're not sitting there comparing yourself to God, we can put you on a pedestal, be like, wow, you are great. You're great for the culture. You're great for the cause. You're great for music. You're great for artistry overall, and for people expressing themselves. I really respected his freedom of being able to speak his mind for real. But then it went south.
girl.
Like it went south. Like hell. It went hell, okay? And it has not come back for like at least, it's been a minute now, at least 15 to 18 years. It's been a long time.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, almost. He's been crazy Kanye longer than he was Kanye West at this point.
Like crazy with a K, crazy Kanye.
Oh my God, man. But I still think there's a good guy in there. So Kanye, if you're watching, we're rooting for you. We love you here at Dynasty Queens. We want the best for you. I know you like to be trending. So here's your opportunity to kind of get,
Hashtag.
Yeah, But, we want you guys to also chime in. How do you feel about, the Kanye West that we all grew to love in the beginning, in the golden years, to now? Like, how do y'all feel about his transition, his growth, his lack thereof, his music, all that stuff? You guys chime in. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and let us know, what's going on. So, yeah, I just feel, once again, Kanye. I know you're inside of there, man. Snap out of it. The culture needs you. We need you. Your diehard fans, they need you, So that's what it is, guys. So once again, in closing, I am your girl, Nia-Jolie, and I'm with my beautiful co-host,
Pamela Nicole.
And this has been another episode of Dynasty Queens. Until next time, peace.